Namaskar and good evening and welcome to this English edition of PGurus tonight. As Sumit, we are going to talk about a lot of subjects and take all your questions, and they don't have to be necessarily on this subject. They can be on any subject, anything, what comes on your mind. So the things which we are going to broadly talk about is China wants the world, Trump wants China, and the world. Israel fumes, UK soldiers are deserting, Pakistanis kicked it out, some important developments happening with US Secretary of Defense, and much more. So this is what we are going to talk briefly today. And on that note, with that pretext, on the name of Bhagwan Sree Ganesha, let's do the Sree Ganesha of today's vlog. Okay, friends, you can ask your questions as many as you want and as long as you want. I'm going to be your host and host for the show. And let's start. Now, I'm going to make it interesting. I'm going to make it interactive. You can put your comments, and my good friend and buddy Sachin ji is going to present us with all whatever you have. So be free. Now imagine a situation. A very powerful leader of the world named Mr. J.D. Vance lands in India today at 9:30 a.m. in the morning on a 4-day trip. He is the next in line to Donald Trump, wherein Donald Trump faces a lot of security challenges and even personal security threats. And there are countries which have plans to eliminate Trump. And Trump has signed an executive order that if he's assassinated and there's an Iranian hand in it, Iran has to be decimated. If, God forbid, we pray for his well-being and happiness and long life, if something happens to the president, the next in line is Mr. J.D. Vance. Now, what we are told today that Mr. Vance is on a visit which is 4 days, and it is a personal business official visit. And he comes along with his wife, 3 kids, 2 boys and a daughter. God bless the family. We welcome them in India. Happy to have them here. Wife is from Indian roots, Mrs. Usha Vance. Well, ma'am, very warm welcome to the country. And of course, the kids. Now, when you look at this picture, and there are a lot of few geopolitical developments which have happened in the between, and what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to join the dots and see if we can make a picture. Mr. Vance lands here, and he goes to Akshardham temple, that is in Delhi, and he's in Moria. 6:30, he meets Prime Minister Modi. Then he goes to Jaipur. He's going to be in Rambagh Fort Palace, I believe. He is going to pay a visit to 𝗤𝗏𝗏, Amer Fort, and some other place of historical relevance. Then he will be up to Taj Mahal. From Taj Mahal, he's back to Jaipur, and possibly he's flying out from Jaipur. That is what we know about itinerary. So it's a 4-day trip. Now, Mr. J.D. Vance is in India, first ever trip as Vice President of United States of America to India. And I think personally also it's his first trip. What is happening tomorrow? Tomorrow is 22nd. Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister, is leaving for Saudi Arabia. I think his 3rd or 4th trip to the kingdom. And he's going to be there for 2 days. And when Modi ji arrives back, till that time, Mr. Vance is going to be in India. And after that, Mr. Vance flies out from India. In the meanwhile, he's going to see all 𝗤𝗏𝗏 and Amer Fort and all those Taj Mahals of the world. That is what the story looks to be. That is what the narration is told to the world. But when I start digging deep into it and start correlating at the events with the events around me, and you can chip in if you want. I mean, your comments are always welcome. And when I look at the events which are unfolding around me, I mean, all the things don't add up. This is something which is missing. What is happening in the United States of America? You have an imminent war with Iran, which can break any day. Iran's foreign minister, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗥𝗏, met Steve Witkoff on Saturday. What is the outcome? If any of you know, let me know. I could not find anything. I don't know what happened. Obviously, when there is no news, it's not a good news, because if there was some good news or there was something which was happening good, they would have told you it's all productive, it's good, we are progressing. Rafael Grossi, the man who heads the United Nations atomic watchdog, tells Iran is days or weeks or is nearest to its nuclear bomb. Israel's right-wing party is worried. They are saying Trump is trying to negotiate with Israel and Iran and giving them time. Does a United States of America have time? If United States of America has time, can Israel afford this time? Because if they get the bomb, Israel will cease to exist. So there's a lot of worry with the right-wing faction of Israel, and they're also worried because of one of the other reasons which we're going to talk in a while, is why is Macron hell-bent to recognize the state of Palestine? What went wrong? What is wrong with you, Mr. Macron? Though Israel has taken a few steps, which we're going to talk about it. And Benjamin Netanyahu has not ruled out that he may go and do a preemptive strike on Iran's nuclear assets, which can be even today, tomorrow, any day, even next hour. I don't know. And I can't, and you know, honestly, I can know that. I cannot know that. So that is where the world is. Now, in such a turmoil, you are negotiating with 80 countries. You have an arch rival China, which has literally gone crazy. And Mr. Vance, and along with his family, has decided to have a good time at Taj Mahal and Amer Fort. They're beautiful places, by the way. And all the places of India. But whole of India is beautiful. India is incredible. I mean, what is happening? 6:30, he met Prime Minister Modi, and he was supposed to meet, that is on the agenda, in his house. And the discussion was going to be around a lot of things which we don't know. But one thing we know is BTA. That is a trade agreement between India and bilateral trade agreement between India and the US, which is a big cornerstone, a big foundation stone, a big development which will shape up the future Indian-American relations. Now, is this what brings Mr. J.D. Vance here, or something beyond that? Is that only thing which J.D. Vance is going to talk to Prime Minister Modi, or a lot of things behind that? Now, this is the picture I painted in front of you, and you can give me your comments. Now, what do you think is happening? With all these things, there are a couple of important developments which have happened. First, China tests a big bomb. It's developed by one of the shipping corporations, one of the military shipping corporations of China. It's a hydrogen-based bomb. It's not a hydrogen bomb. It's not a thermonuclear weapon. Let me clear it for you. It's a bomb which is based on hydrogen hydrate, or some compound, hydrogen. I think Sachin bhai, you can look through for me. So, I think hydrogen hydrate some compound of hydrogen. I just slipped my name. I'm sorry. Now, what does it do is that it or a magnesium hydrate. I don't know what is the compound. I just skipped my mind. Anyway, so it detonates. It has detonated. What does it do? They detonated it in a sea. It has an impact radius which is at least a few kilometers, and it creates a big fireball. Magnesium hydrate. Yes, you're right. You see, Sachin bhai is faster than computer. This magnesium hydrate skip. I thought it was magnesium, but I confused. It's based on magnesium hydrate. Now, the fireball has a temperature of more than 1,000 degrees. Now, if you look into the arithmetics and the geometry and the geography of it, so it can be detonated over sea. It has a temperature of 1,000 degrees. It creates a big fireball, and it is not a thermonuclear weapon. So, what does that mean? That means detonation is very easy. Usually, to detonate a hydrogen bomb, a nuclear hydrogen bomb, you need an atom bomb. You have to have that kind of a temperature for the fusion to happen. That works on nuclear fusion, the traditional hydrogen bomb, what we know. So this here, the triggering mechanism is very simple. It's not complicated at all. And this beautiful compound called magnesium hydrate, China has capacity to produce few hundred tons of it a year. Few hundred tons of it a year. How much do you need in a bomb? I don't know. Not 100 tons. It's quite less than that. So China is telling you, I have the bomb. I have showed you the capability. I have factories which are manufacturing the compound, which can manufacture the compound. My production capacity is few hundred tons a year. So that means I can make a lot of bombs. And this bomb is not a nuclear bomb. This does not work on fusion. But the impact in a very limited circle or the radius, it is fantastic. 1,000 degrees of heat, more than that. It will melt everything around it. Now, who is the target? Do your analysis. Let's do it together. The target is American aircraft carriers. American aircraft carrier is a big steel float floating on the water. And imagine one of these bombs hits, and they seem to have a lot, and they seem to have at least that's what they claim, a capacity to produce a lot. Now, if it hits the aircraft carrier, it can literally melt the aircraft carrier or destroy the aircraft carrier at 1,000 degrees of heat and fireball. No electromagnetic spectrum works. All your equipment will fail and everything will simply start in melting or burning out. So it's a very clear and a subtle message to America. We can destroy your carriers without nukes. It is something which is much, much bigger than TNT, but yet it is not a nuke. So this is a very, very clear message to America. Look, this is our capability. We can destroy you. What does that tell you? That tells you Chinese are rattled, Chinese are pissed off, and Chinese are really hanging by the threads. You know, pendulum hanging by the threads. A pendulum hangs by the ball, you know, this string or whatever. It's a pendulum hanging by the threads which can break up. So this is where the Chinese are. So there's a very clear message to America. And says, because Trump, a couple of days back, told us, I have a weapon which Chinese cannot even imagine. Now Chinese responded, Mr. Trump, here is the weapon. Okay. Interesting. So this happens and the world media covers it. And oh, this is, and China saying, oh, it's just a small thing. You know, I just trying to show you my power and, you know, this how strong Beijing is. Excellent. In the meanwhile, China comes with a warning. It comes with a warning to the world. It says, look, guys, if for those countries, especially who are doing deals or trade deals with the United States of America, how many countries are trying to do that? 80, and we are counting. And which is the most important country for China doing this deal? India, Bharat. And where is the president or the where is the deputy president or the vice president of United States of America as on today? On the Punya Bhumi or on the holy land of Bharat, India. So the biggest trade deal which is going to literally get China out of the gear is the deal as a VTA between India and United States of America, which is likely to happen. Mr. Vance has spoken to Modi ji on that, and there are other things on the agenda which we don't know, but definitely that is the thing which is in the public forum. And this trade deal has a potential of $500 billion. Beijing to grow at the cost of India's nation. I agree, 𝗟𝗓𝗏. I agree. This is this is 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗏 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗏 is trying to do a fantastic work. He's a very hardworking man, and he talks straight. I mean, he doesn't mince his words. I like the man. Now, this has grown. Now he is trying to cut this deal. Okay, so far we are even. We are on the same page. Good. This deal is going to impact China the most. And when JD Vance is on your soil, China is issuing a threat to the world, and especially to those countries who are trying to do trade deals with the United States of America. Now look at the timing. Vance is here. Bomb explodes. Here is my bomb, and here is my threat. Okay, if you do this. And what does China tell you? China is telling you, if countries are doing deals which will hurt Chinese interests, these deals, appeasement will not get peace and will not be respected, quote unquote. What do you mean by appeasement will not get peace? What is the relevance of the word peace here? It's a veiled threat. Appeasement will not get peace. So basically they're telling you that you are sucking up to America, anybody, so that will not get you peace. Usually in trade, we don't talk of peace. We talk of peace and war, right? They are the two things. It's like 0 and 1, black and white. But how does peace got to do with signing a treaty with America or Japan or, for that matter, Russia? That's point number one. And they say that if you're trying to cut deals with America, which are intended or which will intend to hurt the interests of China, will not be seen very normal, and it is like asking tiger for his skin. So China is a new tiger. I didn't know this. Oh, good. She is the, what is she? Is, wow, good. So is asking tiger for his skin. It's like you are trying to skin a live tiger. And now, obviously, if you go and try to skin a live tiger, dragon kahan? Dragon chutti pe chala gaya. Dragon chutti pe chala gaya. Dragon is gone on leave. Now they are a new tiger, or maybe a hybrid between tiger and the lion. How does it look? And now it's like skinning a live. As a live tiger, you're asking for the skin. It's like skinning a live tiger. What is he going to do? So China is threatening, here's my bomb, and he's threatening all the countries, especially India, when they know J.D. Vance is here. They know J.D. Vance is officially here to cut a deal. This is one story. So this is how China is threatening the entire world. Now China has resumed to threats because a lot of people are indebted to China and they owe China money and all that. Because Xi Jinping is rattled. Why? Xi Jinping is rattled because after his visit to all these three buddy countries, none of them gave a statement pro-China and against America. So our friend is really rattled. He doesn't know what to do. He's saying, oh, bye, this is not good. Now, incidentally, I'm quoting President Trump today. President Trump said that China is trying to have a deal with us, but Xi is a very proud man. You know, long face of the Chinese president, long. Yes, I told you it's always in Chinese culture because I have worked with them very closely, traveled extensively. It's about the face of the top man. I will not even change my sentence what I've been using in PGurus or national TV or other channels. It's always about the face of the top man. That is what exactly Donald Trump has said today. Xi is a very proud man, but eventually they will figure a way out. He wants to cut a deal. He wants to get out of this because of his pride, because of his ego, because he thinks he's the emperor of China or a very big or a powerful man. He doesn't want to do it. So China has started resorting to tactics, and we already discussed yesterday morning how they are trying to encircle Taiwan and how is Taiwan trying to do itself, and how is a perpetual threat looming on India even as we talk today. So this is the threat what China has issued to the whole world. Now, let me take you to a story which is below the wraps, and it has a relation with this. So that is my analysis. I'm going to do it for you, and so that you can understand what I think, and we may be on the same page. And I think this is where the piece is. The piece is as follows. Prime Minister Modi is going tomorrow morning tonight, I don't know, tomorrow morning, he's leaving for Saudi. He's going to spend 2 days in Saudi, right? And in these 2 days, Vice President Vance is seeing Taj Mahal, Amer Fort, and other beautiful places, beautiful, incredible India. And looks like he has no official engagement in these 2 days. He's only a tourist in the beautiful motherland, India. So looks like Mr. Vance has a lot of time, but that is not the case. He doesn't have time. He's a very busy man, and he's the man. Now, what is he doing in India? If he's doing nothing in India, why should China issue a threat when he's in India? That is the point. Modi ji is going to Saudi. Now, there's a story which is working in the back end. Let us go back to Saturday. Today is Monday. Let me take you back to Saturday. What happened on Saturday? 𝗥𝗚𝗡𝗥𝗏 met Sree Iyer App, Italy, Rome. What happened? No outcome. Before that meeting, Iran made it stand tough. We will not give centrifuges. We are not going to give uranium. We are not going to stop enrichment of uranium. You cannot take away anything from us. So Iran hardened its position. And they say the position comes from Khomeini. The Khomeini. That is, this man. There's nothing above him, as per Iran. So this comes from here. This is not the position of the 𝗥𝗚𝗡𝗥𝗏 or the Mohammad Barkazain. It comes from Khomeini, Mullah. So when you go with this position to meet Steve Witkoff, and Steve Witkoff is told you have time running out. Israel is getting rattled. Mossad, Shin Bet is warning they are getting nearer. Grouchy is warning they are getting nearer. And Grouchy gave an interview to the French newspaper where he spilled the beans. It's a matter of days or weeks, I don't know how much. That time is not given out. Now, what is supposed to happen after that? We don't know what is the outcome. Has 𝗥𝗚𝗡𝗥𝗏 went to Beijing? Because Iran told us he'll be going to Beijing. Why not Moscow? Because after the first meeting, they met in Moscow with the Russians, but Russians were not talking. Because what Americans told them, deposit all this uranium, 375 kilograms with Russia, with Putin. And suddenly 𝗥𝗚𝗡𝗥𝗏 says, I have lost ally. That Russians are not talking to me. They're more interested in Ukraine. So who's the only person left? China. Now, who is the man who has nothing to lose in the world today? Xi Jinping. Which is the country which has gone crazy? China. And which is the party in the world which has come into existential crisis after 100 years? Communist Party of China. So when he may land up in China. What will he talk to the China? He will talk to the China, look, Mr. China, Houthis have your missiles. Your Chinmoy satellite comms was helping Houthis. Americans have issued a formal press briefing by the US State Department on it. They've taken the name of your company. And if something happens to us, the free oil you were getting from us in rubles, and again, they were giving those third-grade missiles to Houthis, that is not going to work. And the oil you are getting from Venezuela, there's already sanctions on it. I'm not going to get Venezuelan oil. So what you have to go? You have to go and buy oil from Russia. Russia will not sell too much of oil to you. So you have to go and buy oil from Saudis and all. And for that, you need dollars. And if you need dollars, you cannot screw with Americans. So Mr. President Xi Jinping, you have to kneel. They'll play with his ego. You know, the man has a lot of pride. What Donald Trump rightly said. They'll play with his ego. They will tweak his ego. And they say you have to now go and, suck up to Americans. And that's the only way for the China to survive. And that is what the emperor doesn't like. So what will emperor do? Emperor will play a bluff. Emperor will try to reach out to MBS. Say, Mr. MBS, can you give me oil in yuans? Because I might not get so much of oil from Russia. And Iran gets out of the gear. Screw the Houthis, they're gone. So can you give me oil in yuan? Now, with the stakes in Aramco, and the petrodollar works, the dominance of the dollar works on one pillar, that is petrodollar. So China is the biggest importer of oil. India is the number 2. So what the biggest importer of oil somehow manages to get oil in yuan. If this happens, India might try to get oil in rupees, or Saudis might offer India, I'll give you oil in rupees. Mr. Modi, you want to buy? I'm ready to give you. Because Saudis will bite the bullet. Now the question is, why will Saudi bite the bullet? Why will MBS go and bite the bullet? There's a reason for it. MBS knows Iran is a matter of time, will be decimated. MBS knows US Energy Secretary or Energy Minister a couple of days back in Riyadh told me we'll sign an MOU. And after MOU, you will have a civil nuclear cooperation with you. And you will start enriching uranium in Saudi for civil nuclear things. And then you will even process the fuel for your reactors. The Saudi doesn't need so much of energy. It doesn't have industry. Why does it need? Because MBS knows I might start here. Push comes to shove. From 60, it's not too difficult to go to 90. At 60, you produce this uranium, which is used for all these civilian purposes. At 90, you make the big one. So if I get the basic capability, it's a matter of time. If push comes to shove, tomorrow things change. I might go to 90. So these state-of-art American machinery, state-of-art American defense equipment, a lot of things they have from America. They have a lot of money. And Trump is pushing them to send $1 trillion. Now, Saudi's foreign exchange reserves are not so big. They can send $1 trillion to Trump in 4 years. That means these princes and the kings and the princelets, just talking in the flow, have to send personal money to Trump. Why does Trump want their money? Trump wants their money because if you put your trillion in America, which is your personal money included, and because of that money you're the prince, otherwise you're a normal citizen, now you cannot do de-dollarization. Well, some people will not like me for that. They run their shop on de-dollarization. It's like a perpetual Alice in Wonderland, and that white rabbit who's getting late for the party. You know who the rabbit is, right? Anyway, so now this de-dollarization is not going to happen. So Trump has a benefit here. But why should MBS bite the bullet? Because MBS also knows Americans. Americans talk, walk, and by the time they deliver, it may not happen. They say, look, buddy, things changed. But there is People's Republic of China who can say, forget the MOU. You want enriched uranium? Here is it. You want a reactor? Here is it. You want a small bomb? Here is it. You want the technology? Here is it. What do you want? I'll bring it to the table. I'll give it to you, buddy, today. And no strings attached, no contracts with me. But you have to sell me the oil in rubles. If you sell me, in yuan, if you sell me the oil in yuan, offer the same deal to Modi ji. Because this is a deal what Modi cannot refuse to take, because that is where the interest of India is. So the first biggest importer of oil and the second biggest importer of oil will buy oil from you because you are giving this rupee thing. And that will kind of get you the nukes what you want, get you the energy what you want. You will dominate the Middle East. Nobody will dare to talk in front of you. Iran will be handled. And because Americans can't go and talk with Iran. But if you want, I can still bridge you some gap with Iran if they survive. You get the nukes, you get the technology. I'll have Pakistan come and do the dirty work. Though you have deported 4,700 Pakistani beggars is a different issue. We'll come and do the dirty work. You will get what you want. But I want this in return. That will weaken petrodollar. If the petrodollar is weakened, that will further weaken the dollar. And with the US Treasury bonds pressure on the dollar already, due to which Trump halted his tariff campaign because Japanese played a bit dirty. Now, with those things happening, that will be a body blow to America. That's how I'll hit America back. So, are you interested, Mr. MBS? And Modi ji is going to be there. And there is this whole group. 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗏 was 3-4 days back in Russia. Sheikh 𝗟𝗡𝗙, he met the Putin and he said, look, this, what is his name? Syrian ISIS terrorist leader. 𝗟𝗏𝗄𝗏. No, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏 also, no, 𝗟𝗏𝗄𝗏. 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏 wants to be a friend of Russia. There are all these, backdoor channels and backdoor things which are still going on. Says, look, this is what I bring to the table. What do you want? Now, when this happens, Modi ji is in Saudi. We don't know what is on the agenda. Something might come up. Something might be leaked out to the media. Something drastic might happen. Oh, Saudis have offered this and all. So if that happens, imagine that happens. Now, India will be in a catch-22 position to take it or to leave it. The national interest says take it, but the long-term strategic interest says leave it. Now, there is something which Vance will communicate to Modi ji one-to-one. If there's a situation, if something needs to be negotiated and assured on the behalf of Trump, like this, one-to-one, across the table, Vance can do it. Vance is the person who has the authority, power to sign or seal anything. And Vance is in India till the time Modi ji comes back from Saudi. And he's doing this. Amer Fort, Taj Mahal, beautiful places though. So it is not as simple as it looks. So, but what is Modi ji going to do? Modi ji is going to say, okay, if Saudis give me oil and all and rupees and all, I'm going to, because oil is biggest on our import bill. I'm going to, buddy, look, I'm going to save $20-30 billion. But the problem is I have a very difficult neighborhood. India is the Israel of this part of the world. There's an Israel there and there's an Israel here. And all your neighbors are going against you, minus Nepal and Bhutan. We want to be the part of energy because Modi ji will have a list. What does the list include? Look, Mr. Vance, I want to be a part of the energy. I want to settle Bangladesh. You have to help me out. There's a possibility Nepal wants to become part of India one day. Bhutan already has some inclination. I have done an MOU on a military pact with Sri Lanka. I'm interested in 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏 harbor for my strategic and military interests. I want to strengthen my Andaman Nicobar Islands. I want those big radars which can detect any boat 4,000 miles away. I want a lot of things which are on my wish list. What do you bring to the table? Now, if I say no to the offer, there will be a political turmoil. There's a cost of $30 billion or 20. But what do you bring to the table? Because this will also antagonize Saudis, this will antagonize Middle East, it will antagonize even some people over here. And but I'm okay. But what does India get if we want to bite the bullet? So what are those tangibles? What you get? Where is the fry? Where is the problem? The problem is Japan became a factory of the America and in the long run got nothing. China again became the workshop of the America in the long run got nothing. But we as India, we as Bharat, we don't want to become your workshop and end up getting nothing. Today we developed our IT industry, and our IT industry is one of the biggest in the world, one of the most powerful industries in the world. Good. We want that to happen. We want to help you. We want you to grow. We want you to make money, but we want to also keep and grow our strategic capabilities. Now, this is another turn of events which is happening in the world. If China falls, which it will, India is de facto the second biggest economy in the world. It will happen. Matter of 2-3 years, it will happen. And eventually, 10-15 years down the line, with your demographic dividend and your youth power, your demographic dividend, your median age, which is very low, 27, 28, your demographic dividend lasting for 70 years, 800 million youth, you are bound to take US as the biggest economy. Why? Because countries with big population, they usually have a lot of GDP. Why? Let's say we are only doing $100 a month. But for us to make from $100 to $300 is relatively easy, right? But if you're already doing $3,000, for you to go to $9,000 is impossible. But for us to go from 100 to 300 is very easy. And when the literacy increases, when the infrastructure increases, when the things increase, it's very easy for us to reach where we want to reach. So eventually, Americans cannot fathom this thought that one day India might become the largest economy of the world. So the problem is, how do we tackle them at one point of time? So do we leave them as at a workshop which we can start and shut? But does India want to become that workshop which can be started and shut? No, we don't want to become that workshop which start and shut. We need something tangible in lieu of that. But we are not like Japan. We are not like, especially we are not like China, who are there to come hurt you, enter your bedrooms and bathrooms and steal data and all. We don't want to do that. That is not what the Indian ethos is, but we want our pound of flesh. What do you bring to the table? This is my offer. What is your counter offer? What are my guarantees? What is my balance that you're going to stick to your word? And how do I make sure you don't double cross me? Because Modi ji is a very seasoned negotiator and a economic professor, if you can say, in this. He knows where the interest of India is. He will think for 50 years. How does this deal help me for 50 years? Because China will be antagonized, China will be upset, China has started warning you, because this part of the deal will hit China most, right? So now this is where the paradigm is. And with the changing politics of the world, with Russian interest, with the French interest, with the European interest, with WEF coming, and so many things happening. Now it's a very, very tight rope to walk. And if I, when I think of Prime Minister Modi, I think of that, there's a juggler who juggles those 20 balls and keeps on talking to you. He knows how to balance those 20 balls and still talk to you. That is what Prime Minister is doing right now. He's balancing those 20 and talking to you. It might look for you very simple, but it's not so simple to develop those skills and art. And you have to look for the Indian strategic interests. So that is where the paradigm is. That is what J.D. Vance, in my opinion, is doing here. That is why he's here, because you want this to go, because China has already started cracking. Now to add to it, Trump wants the world. What is Trump wanting the world with? This is the backdrop. I'll go to the next part. Oh my God, 32 minutes are gone. Next part, Trump wants the world. What is Trump wanting the world with? Trump is telling to the world a couple of things. First of all, do not devalue your currencies. Don't try to devalue your currencies to absorb the tariffs. It doesn't work. Don't impose VATs and give subsidies to your exporters. You impose a VAT and give subsidies to your exporters. Don't do that. Do not do those transshipments, label change business. Do not steal the IP. Do not subsidize your industry. Do not use these high yield and those genetically modified versions for the crops. And there are 30 minutes passed by. Yeah, Sachin, 30 minutes passed. I never realized the time because it was such an important story. And then there are 2 or 3 things. He has put 8 things on that list. These are the 8 things which Trump has put. Then, and do not help people to use your country for transshipments. There are 7, 8 things which he doesn't want. So that whatever China is having in the mind, they're already being countered. Now there's a war between China and America. And he says that China has reached out multiple times, but the problem is his ego. He has a lot of pride. He doesn't want to be seen kneeling down. And he knows that China is vulnerable. And he's already talking about delisting Chinese companies from the US stock exchanges, which is a $1.1 trillion bazooka fired. And after the money which will, and if some of them cannot be listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, you're talking a few $100 million which they have to pay, refund immediately. So there's a lot of crap which is happening. There's a lot of crap which is hitting China, and they don't know how to handle this. So after after China issues the warning, Trump issues this warning. These are my 8 parameters. Basically, Trump is right. These are the 8 parameters which China will still try to use and manipulate, because China is threatening those small countries. And then the Chinese Ministry of Commerce goes and threatens Africa. He says, it's for Africa to do this, Africa to do this, Africa to do this, because China knows Europe is gone, India is gone, right? Though they try to entice India with the Wangi, elephant and dragon can dance together. But hey, Wangi, buddy, you have become a tiger. So is it dragon or is it tiger, or is it between tiger and the lion? So can you please clarify that, what you are now? To me, you are some other day. I'm being charitable with the words today. Some other day. Now, with this happening, now they think only place where they can, Middle East is not a big market. So only thing place where they think is Africa. So they're warning African countries. Why African countries? Why do you think they specially picked out African countries? Look, guys, Africa is not a very big market. But Africa is 40% of the land of the world. China is dependent on food for Africa. Africa has mines. Africa has minerals. Africa has coal. Africa has diamonds. God has gifted Africa with a hell lot of things which are beyond our imagination. But the challenge with Africa is they are disorganized. There's a lot of crime. There's not education. And Africa has become a hunting ground for a lot of people to prosper and live. So China is warning Africa, do not do this, because even to keep China running in whatever they are, they need those minerals, those metals, those things. And by the way, China doesn't have rare earths below its soil. They come somewhere from Africa. They come somewhere from these countries. So Americans might want to cut a deal with the African Union or the African countries that don't sell. What is the American countries? Don't sell stuff to China. Don't let Chinese stuff ships dock. And don't let Chinese invest your country. These are the three main conditions. Now, China is worried if Africa goes out of the hand, then we have a problem. But what is the leverage of China? The China's leverage is those debt traps. But can you enforce those debt traps? Can you send PLA to enforce those? You can't. You have seen what happened to PLA and your people in Baluchistan. After that, nobody can dare to send their people to Africa. So even PLA does not want to go there, honestly. Africa is a dangerous place, man. I read somewhere in a Nairobi National Park, unfortunately, one 14-year-old girl was taken away by a lion, and unfortunately, girl lost her life. So when African lions are dangerous, forget the people. So Chinese, you're small. Don't go to Africa. It's dangerous, man. She doesn't know. Anyway, this is what is happening in Africa. Now, there's another interesting part. So this is what Trump wants us. The other part I want to touch quickly because we have run out of the time. I have to go rapid or fast. I'll try to do as much as I can. I'm trying my best, and your comments are encouraging. Please keep on sending. And by the way, can I request something? Have you liked the video? Can you like the video, please? Can you do me a favor? Can you like the video? Surgeon, let me know. How the likes increase. Well, likes are very important. Like, share, subscribe. It's very, very important, sir, because we live on a platform called YouTube where how the platform works. It's not what I like. It's not what my personal preference is. It is what exactly YouTube wants me to do. So please help me out. Right? I'll really appreciate it. We'll be humbled as a team. So now, why is Israel fuming? Israel is fuming because of Macron. Macron saying in June, when he's going to United Nations, he's going to recognize Palestine as a state. Now, Israel's right wing has a problem. You say, what is Trump doing? Because Iran might be very close to a bomb, and then do we have a chance? They are pushing Benjamin Netanyahu. You have the weapons. Why don't you go and do it? Why are you waiting for the Trump? But Netanyahu says, no, I can't do it because I have to see how things happen. And in the meanwhile, there were some parliamentarians, obviously left-leaning, communist-oriented parliamentarians of France who wanted to visit Israel. And Israeli government, 48 hours before that, cancelled their visas, though they had these diplomatic passports and whatever. But there are provisions with the government of Israel which believe that not. Please like the video. We really need you to like the video. Can you please like it? We have around 2,000 people with us. Can we start at least liking the video? My request to all. Please like the video. Now, what is going to happen is these parliamentarians, because the Benjamin Netanyahu has these provisions by the virtue of which he can block them. And remember, there were a few British parliamentarians who were blocked, and there were some more parliamentarians from the European Union who wanted to come and who were basically, I think half of them were Muslim and others were pro-Palestine, and they wanted to come to Israel and talk about pro-Palestine and genocide in Gaza and all. So Benjamin Netanyahu has used this powers to block them. But you see, the politics is politics. You know what the right wing now says? Right wing now says, why Macron is behaving like this? Why can't we have a meeting with Macron and understand why Macron is behaving like this? I told the Israeli parliament is more tricky than the Indian parliament. It's much more tricky, but I think that's how it happens. So guys, I'm hoping you'll like the video because that is very important, sir. For 2,000 people, kindly like it. I mean, we wanted to go to the next level. I really appreciate that. And you're all our regular viewers. You all know me. You all know the channel. And you know all our predictions come true, by the way. So this is what is happening on the Israel. That's why Israel is fuming. So there's a pressure from right wing. Why don't you go and attack? Why are you waiting on America? Benjamin Netanyahu cannot do it. Benjamin Netanyahu stops them. Then the right wing comes and says, hey, Mr. Netanyahu, I want him to come to France. I want him to come to Tel Aviv, and we want to talk to him. Why is he talking like this? Now, if it's like the politics is like, if you do, you are doomed. If you don't do, you're still doomed. That is what is happening here. So it's a very difficult thing for Netanyahu also. I don't know how does a poor chap manage with that. I mean, kudos to such people who are managing the things. Another interesting topic which we want to cover is that UK soldiers are deserting. There's a video out in the social media which is saying that UK's Keir Starmer is engineering a war with Russia. They want to send British soldiers to Ukraine to -20, -30, and possibly get eliminated by Russians. Now, by that time, Europe and Ukraine and everybody understands you can't win with Russians, but still you want to send their soldiers there because it believes that there's a big talk that a lot of soldiers are leaving the army. I think they don't have a big army. I think 60,000, 80,000 UK, and a lot of them are leaving in masses because they don't want to fight this war. They're believing this is a war which is engineered for the interests of people who are biggies of the world, or billionaires of the world, those who are some people even LH is the WEF. They're the people who are running it, who want their interests to be taken care of, who want their billions to multiply. And for that, they're manipulating the politicians, of course, typical deep state. And for that, Keir Starmer wants to send the people and the soldiers of UK to fight Russia and die for Ukrainians on the Ukrainian soil, which British soldiers are refusing to do because they think it's not their war. They don't deserve to die in a cold winter day or a chilling winter night on a Ukrainian soil where nobody even claims the bodies. And now they understand that they can't win this war with Russia. So this is what is happening there. And I think that's why I was always wondering, why is Keir Starmer behaving like this? He's behaving completely different, and there's no logic why he should be behaving this like at this at all. So this is what we are coming to know. What is the Keir Starmer doing? And if this is true, this is the first sign of mutiny in the modern British Empire. Oh, sorry. Excuse my English. England, not Empire. England. Yeah, within England. Okay. So that's what is happening, right? And is this WEF angle and all coming? And this is a bit chilling. And in the meanwhile, there's a context to this. Putin has in a way declared that by 9th May he will end the war with Ukraine. Now these guys had declared an Easter Sunday ceasefire. Now the Russians and Ukrainians are accusing each other of violation. The Ukraine says Russians have not fired those missiles and drones, but the Russian army tried to invade us, and there are 2,000 ceasefire violations. That is what the Ukrainians claim. And Russians say we have not done anything. Now Trump has increased the pressure on Zelensky because you will be surprised to know what Zelensky wants to buy. Zelensky wants to buy Patriot missile batteries. But the man has a lot of money, man. And the Trump is saying, hey, you lost your head. We're trying to finish the war. Why are you trying to buy Patriot missile batteries? He has put, and Zelensky tried to lure Trump. Okay, you know what, Mr. Trump, let's sign the mineral deal. China is squeezing a bet. Let's sign the mineral deal. But what did Trump say today? Trump says, we are going to sign deals with both Ukrainians and Russians. And we want Ukraine and Russia to both come together and prosper. So Trump has not kind of pushed Putin because Putin and he agreed. There's a China angle, there's an Iran angle, there's so many things going on. And I think by 9th May, this war should settle when Putin emerging victorious. So Trump has told Zelensky, look, buddy, Crimea and all will be recognized by America. You have to stop the war. And Zaporozhye, the biggest power plant, will be controlled by Americans, owned by Americans, will give power to you and Ukrainians and Russians both. That's not a problem. And all these territories which are controlled by Putin will kind of go to Putin. And there'll be you can't be joining NATO for your lifetime. And there'll be no European forces coming and protecting you. There's some basic security protocols which will be in place. Nothing beyond that. And we don't think, buddy, you are a legitimate leader. And we need somebody more legitimate leader and who can win an election and come. And who will handle Ukraine from here. The Ukrainian analysts warn that if you try to remove Zelensky at this sort of time, might not be a good idea because the ground is not there. And Trump, I will quote him, has said recently in a press briefing that millions of people have died in this war. He was speaking to reporters and the press and the correspondents saying, look, you don't know, you have no idea. But when you will really go and have the ground breaking, you'll see the estimates are many folds than what we know of today. So that might have come from the US intelligence or wherever. So when the president speaks, there has to be some credible information around this. So that is what it is kind of, speaking. And so more and more pressure on Zelensky to call up this war. And if you don't call up the war, anyway, Putin is going to win. So it's a very clear strategy. Put pressure on Zelensky, give Putin the time. Because here we have a China angle, we have an Iran angle. For China and Iran both, you need Putin not to intervene. That is the game plan. So they are not letting Putin to intervene. That is, they're settling this part of the here. So that is about this. And meanwhile, Pakistan is kicked out. Now, the story dates a few weeks before Prime Minister Modi visited Sri Lanka. We know about the historic MOU on defense. We know there are a lot of things which are happening between India and Sri Lanka now. We know the Chinese interests are getting weaker in Sri Lanka. Now, incidentally, there's a story which has come out. It's about this 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗧 harbor. 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗧 was always in the news. It's a deep sea harbor, beautiful. It has quite deep waters. You can have subs there. You can have a lot of things there, and it can be one of the biggest transshipment ports, a good transshipment destination. And strategically, from there you can look or control the northeast side of the Indian Ocean. So military-wise, commerce-wise, fisheries-wise, and geopolitically, it's a very important harbor, natural harbor, by the way, deep waters. So motherships can dock there. Now, development of 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗧 is a priority of India, and that is what the Prime Minister Modi has discussed with his Sri Lankan counterpart, and they have seemed to have some agreements there. And that is one of the reasons why it's believed that Prime Minister Modi went to Sri Lanka on that tour. And besides the other things we know, that's one of the reasons, because we want that thing and we want this MOU to be done so that Chinese are kept away. And now the news what comes out was, I think it was on the behest of China, Sri Lanka was planning to have a naval military exercise with Pakistanis. Can you believe Pakistanis with 2 boats want to have an exercise with Sri Lanka? And it is when India came to know, and it is when India kind of intervened, and when India put its foot down. And I think the young president of Sri Lanka, he saw logic in it. And he said, okay, the Pakistanis were asked to, just weeks before it was supposed to start, or a week or 2 weeks, just before Prime Minister Modi was confirmed to arrive there, Pakistanis were told to pack their bags and go. So Pakistanis were not allowed. Sri Lanka cancelled that exercise. Pakistanis got kicked in the butt and said, don't come here. It was a big humiliation for Pakistan and in the larger run for China. Because why China? Because China was docking its naval ships and those spy vessels in Sri Lanka. China wanted Sri Lankan Navy to have some kind of operational working balance with Pakistanis as well. So push comes to shove, I can use Pakistani Navy to needle India if there's a need. And what I always say that China is trying to get 5-6 Muslim current countries which surround India, including Pakistan, Bangladesh, Maldives, Tajikistan, Iran, and 1 or 2 more, which will shape up in due course of time, to come and encircle or attack India, or to try to, screw our interest, if I may be direct. So that is what is happening. Otherwise, there was no point of Pakistan doing an exercise with Chinese Navy. What is common between Sri Lankan Navy doing an exercise with Pakistani Navy? What is common between them? And that is what it is. And there's one more kick in the butt. This was on the left butt, on the right butt. How do they get kicked? They got kicked because Saudis have decided to deport 4,700 Pakistani beggars. The biggest international trade, the Pakistan has 2 ITs, not information technology. One is international terror. Second is international trade. What is the biggest international trade? Is beggars, making around $45 a day. It's a lot of money, man. And they have as according to Pakistan, they have 22 million beggars in the world. And these beggars are spread in around 100-120 countries, where they do very professional begging and get things done, and they make good money, and Pakistan gets if I'm not wrong, around $36 billion in foreign repatriations. A lot of them comes from these beggars who are which is an international begging syndicate, and they send money to Pakistan, and Pakistan promotes these beggars. Pakistan grooms these beggars. Pakistan develops these beggars and sends them across the world, and they are the brand they are the brand ambassadors of Pakistan. But when you look into this, why did Saudis throw them out? There's another angle to it. Besides begging and having nuisance and all that, it is also believed that Pakistan uses them to transport narcotics. And it's also believed that some of these beggars work for the plumber agency. You know which is the plumber agency? Some call it that also ISI, Inter-Services Agency. I call them the plumber agency. Some of them also work for the plumber agency. So is it that when Prime Minister Modi is there was some intel, there were some reasons, there were some reasons, or there were some doubts to believe there was some possible risk somewhere in the air. And that is why these 4,700 Pakistani beggars, Bhikhari, were kicked in the butt and sent out. So Pakistan got kicked in the butt twice. One in the Sri Lanka, second in the Saudi. And the problem for Pakistanis is the people who live on zakat from Saudis, who live on those loan rollovers from Saudis, who live on their alms, literally have their people deported from Saudi. And Mr. Asim Munir, you were saying there were only two riyasats or cities or provinces built as per Islam. One is Riyasat Medina, that is Medina, right? That is Saudi, the share of the state of Medina, and another is Pakistan. How come from one state of Medina, which was built on the concept of Islam and Sharia and whatever you were speaking, how come these people are kicking in the butt and deporting the people or the residents of another state of Islam, which is a marvel created after 1300 years? If Mr. Munir, you could have answers to this, we'll be highly grateful, and we will stand highly enlightened and corrected if in your next briefing you could tell us what is the logic behind this, because the world wants to know. On that note, I think we've already crossed all the time limits. I'd like to end my thoughts, and we'll be taking all your questions. Please like this video, like, share, and subscribe. It will be very important for us folks, because we have done a hell of a work today. Namaskar, sir. Rashid is talking in Bangladesh. Surely Russians its proximity to Bharat wouldn't come without the intimidation of Bharat. I think that's a usual military exercise. There's some exercises which happen between Russia and Bangladesh, and a lot of even the weaponry from Bangladesh, a part of it comes from Russia. So this is not something new. This has a tradition, but don't be worried, sir. Russia has no interest in Bangladesh. These are Bangladeshis are Kangalistan. Next. Govind Garuji ask why we have almost finalized a trade deal with the USA. Now China is warning Bharat, and we are also inviting Modi ji. Why China is playing double game? Why Modi ji will accept the invitation? Modi ji would not. And last time Xi Jinping did not come here, I don't think Modi ji is going to accept the invitation, unless until there are some geopolitical compulsions. I think Mr. Piyush Goyal or Mr. Jaishankar, or even a MOS level person, minister, they can send to SCO. I don't think SCO is any longer that powerful forum what it used to be, because the Russians have fundamentally changed. There's a trade war with China. India is towing the American line. And even Russia, there are three countries that are getting together: India, America, and Russia. So who's the odd man out? China. And what does Shanghai SCO stand for? Shanghai. So I think it's depleting, sir. That is my point on it. Next question. Prakash Bhaskaranji asks SPG when Gandhi ji can nationalize banknote Modi ji to medical and engineering colleges in Tamil Nadu just before election. Modi ji can do it, but depends what are the political implications or ramifications on that. You don't want another Murshidabad to start in elsewhere in the country, and there are people who are capable in this country to get them started at a drop of a hat. So we, as I told you, sir, that juggling with 27 balls, which might look easy to me, but if you and me try, even 2 balls will be impossible. So there's a lot at stake, and there's a lot of risk also. Baluchistan and Chaitanya Thakleji. Look, Baluchistan and KPK situation in Pakistan is below 15. or 12, they are not reporting. So every day, couple of people die. And if the number is below 12 and 15, they don't report. And our media friends only have a flair when they want to see a number of 200, 250, 300. Below that, they are not interested. By the way, they tried to hijack. Baluchis had a plan to hijack Jafar Express again. Jafar Express started from Quetta, and on the way, before entering Balochistan, Pakistanis got some kind of intel and they stopped the train and pulled it back. Otherwise, you would have seen another Jafar Express Part 2 repeat. So we call Part 2, Part 3. So now, the people are expecting something big. I talk to a lot of people, in my advisory and all. They always go, Sumit ji, wo Balochistan mein kab bada ho raha hai? I said, what do you mean bada? It's something like Jafar Express. So now the Balochis have increased the standard. Yeah? Benchmarks have gone up. So Chaitanya ji, 5 and 10 don't matter now. If it is 220 or 15, below that, no reporting. Next question. Sree Vignesh ji, sir, good evening. What is the possible action of India for Hindus in Bangladesh? Look, I was in one of the channels wherein I told, I think MA has given up on Bangladesh. That is what some of my sources tell me. Now, when the MEA gives, it's like physicians who try to treat you with medicines and tablets and syrups. Now, they refer you to the surgeons. Now, there are two kinds of surgeons. One are the surgeons who use the surgical knife, who will cut you, and then have those 70 stitches, tuck, 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 right? And there's another group of surgeons which are those robotic surgeons. They just have these 2 or 3 holes, and they have those robots going in and they control them, and they're still able to do the job. So I think currently it is referred to the head of robotic surgery in India, and the name of the person is Mr. 𝗔𝗘𝗿, and the case has been referred to him, and I think he has given time to this Bangladeshi army, 1 month, 2 months, I don't know what, I can't have the details. I'm assuming he has given a time, saying this is the time. Kindly get these students and all, upgrade the software, get them in line. If you fail to do it, then we have to intervene. So I think it's already with the surgeons. Now, even, for example, if the robotic surgeons believe that this is a very big tumor and it won't be feasible to remove it with the robotic tactics, then you might refer it to general surgeons who give these big incisions, open it up and take it out. And if you look at the general, any guess who is the head of the surgery department of India right now? This general surgery department of India? Sachin Bhai will put it. Any guys? Anybody guesses? One is 𝗔𝗘𝗿. Who's heading the other department? एक तो 𝗔𝗘𝗿 sir है, दूसरा कौन है? Who's heading the other department? Any guesses? Now, if I ask Sachin Bhai, he'll just answer. Guys, come on. Who's heading the other department? Okay. Sachin Bhai, Indian government under Modi ji has created a post. No, Jaishankar is the SADE, sir. No. Surgeons. This is a post created called CDS. So the head of other side of the surgery is our current CDS, and on this side is Mr. 𝗏𝗿. So that's how it works. MEA is the physicians. So when physicians cannot settle it, either it goes to the robotic surgery department or to the generic surgery department. They will handle it from here, depending on the size of the tumor. Next question. Srinath Ashi Bhusha. Good evening, Sumit. What is the status of Hindu monk Chinmoy Krishnadath jailed in Bangladesh? I think she is still in jail, sir. And they have recently eliminated one of our very prominent minority leaders, Hindu leader, which we showed you last time. It's a very unfortunate things in Bangladesh. Let's see if Army Chief of Bangladesh can deliver the goods. Now, there are some indications he has started tightening the glue around these Hasnat Abdullah and these Islam and other students. Let's see how much can he do. If he cannot do, then these surgical options are always available, and this will be one of our parts of negotiation with the Americans. If we want to do something surgically there, you have to just pretend not to see. Umesh Kadamji, respected sir, is there any possibility to reform the new world based on true humanity? The hate for religion must be eradicated from the global diaspora. What is your views? Sir, I think it's what is happening is Trump has changed the status quo of the world. I used to always call him the hypersonic missile of the global geopolitics with a ramjet engine. I'm repeating my English. That's what I used to call them, because ramjet engine gives us that speed and hypersonic is like this. So the first thing which must happen for anything to change is the status quo must be changed. I believe the status quo is changed. The status quo is not what it used to be. Status quo has changed. Now when status quo changes, like a Samundra Manthan. Now you will have Halahal Wish also, you will have Amrit also coming up. Now you have to be a Devta or a Rahu. Depends where you end up. But in the end, the outcome of Samundra Manthan was you need a Mahadev who can hold the wish here, Nilakant. There will be a Rahu who will come up, and there will be overall Devtas who will be benefited. That is what the history and the logic teaches us. Shrikant Sanji पूछ रहे is Russia planning an airbase in Indonesia? Russian ships are in Bangladesh. It will be not a complicated Indo-Pacific region. How will it fit India? As on date, we don't know of any confirmed reports of Russians planning a base in Indonesia. I don't think Russians are interested in that, but it might shape up in due course of time. India has a very good and friendly relations with Russia, and Russian bases are never a threat to India and will never be a threat to India, because it's not only the business and the trade. There's a great bond between Indians and Russians, and we love them, we respect them, and they have always stood by us. So first of all, there's no confirmed news, but even if something like this comes, there's not much to be seen through it, at least as on date. Next question, please. Soham Pariraji. Soham ji पूछ रहे हैं, ask Sumit whether Mohd Yunus will continue to be striking bone for India for any visible action you are expecting. I think I discussed that, Soham ji, right now. The case has been referred from physicians to surgeons, and I think Mr. Doval is in charge. Month or two, if Bangladesh's forces can deliver, that's what my time frame is. Otherwise, we will have to do what we have to do, and this will be a part of our negotiation with the Trump and Vance, because we are supposed we have to do something in Pakistan. We have to settle a couple of things in Bangladesh, and you guys have to just look around. Kim Atkins. I love Modi and Trump. I don't understand why we didn't trade with India instead of China from the beginning. We both are democracies. Well, Kim, the problem remains same. There's a gentleman called Barack Hussein Obama. The people say his real name is Barack Hussein Obama. And he created a biggest Frankenstein for America, because he possibly hated America and the Christians, because his father was a Muslim and he thought he was not very nicely treated by the American whites. So the American society as such. He spent a lot of his time in Pakistan, Kenya and other countries. And his half brother lives in Saudi. So he built a Frankenstein for America, which was much bigger than the Islamic terror could have ever done to Americans. That's called People's Republic of China. He took American manufacturing to China. He caught Americans, China. He said China is the factory of the world. China is the gateway of the world. He made China such a big and a bigger country like China with 1.45 billion people became an biggest Frankenstein in the American history. And this man facilitated that. And look, before Obama and after Obama, what are the Americans' trade numbers and the dependence of China? It skyrocketed. Those 8 years were fantastic. Look, there's a president called Bill Clinton who got them into WTO, and China had its plans for the first day. They pretended to have changed and being nice, but again, they were going on. But when Obama came, he accelerated it. He put them on the rocket engines. And now China is the biggest problem for America. And in the process, there were people who were against India, who were against the democracy. They told, okay, these Chinese are communists. You give them money, you open the markets for them. They will change into the democracy. But what happened? Chinese Communist Party became more strong. They used all the capitalistic ways to get money and communism to control the power. So it became an acid cocktail. It's just like you add hydrochloric acid to your whiskey. That's what China became. So this is Obama who exactly did it under a design and purpose. That's why we're here. Next question. Upon Sumitji, why talk about China problems? We need to learn from them. India can avoid China for some time, but not the world. Look, what we can learn from China and Japan is when they got prosperity, they only thought about ourselves. But under the visionary leadership of Prime Minister Modi, look, we got Global South into G20. We have given vaccines to the whole world. When India gets prosper, it's not about I, me, and yourself. India always thinks about the world. because that's the only way to sustain. That is what Sanatan Dharma teaches us. I can only have, ma'am, 3 rotis, 2 rotis, and maybe a small bowl of rice. Even if you send me 1 truck of wheat and 1 truck of rice, I cannot eat it. So what do? Rather than burning wheat and having a campfire, what does India do? India will distribute wheat. What will I do? What will a Sanatani do? Or what will you do? We'll distribute that wheat and rice to people who are in need, who are poor, who really need that. You know what happens in Africa today? The children, young children, they have those brown hair. You know what does brown hair mean? Acute malnutrition. The grains produced in South Africa are sent to America. You know for what? Because they can be fed to the beef, and you can have those juicy Texan burgers at the cost of kids in Africa starving. If it is India, India will never do that. That's the difference between India and anybody else. That is what the world should learn from us. Kalyaram Gantiji. When will US drill shale oil in a big way? We impact billion the price. Why is ONGC reliance on money visit? Look, Joe Biden, I'll tell you a very interesting incident. There is this place called Long Island in America, and when Joe was there, Trump calls him Sleepy Joe, not me. When Joe was there, he was told we need to put refineries here. Sir, we have a lot of crude, but we need to put refineries here and so that we can process the crude. He said, no, we can't put refineries there. So why, sir? He said, look, that will add to the pollution, and anyway, America is shifting to EVs. Why do you need to process more crude? We don't need the crude. Can you believe it? And that is the reality. So it's always the interest of deep state and some people in WEF and all, which were running the world economy. He's talking about pollution. And when energy dependence is a part of America's national security list, I cannot set refineries because they will pollute the air. Believe it or not. But we'll keep on buying and sending dollars. And let's not drill more shale gas. Let's not do, because pollution is more important. You know, there was a minister in India, and you know, there's also an infamous text about her associated with her name. It is believed that in the time of UPA, when BSF asked and the Indian Army asked, we want to build roads to the borders, they were told, oh, the mangroves and the monkeys' habitats will be disturbed. It doesn't matter, India's security is at risk. People like you and me can be killed by Chinese, that's okay. But we cannot disturb those mangroves and monkeys and those, sparrows and parrots. So you have to take approvals, and you have to get NCLT approvals, you have to get Green Tribunal approvals, you have to get 50 approval. By the time you retire from or you get transferred, then a new officer will come, will start again. But we won't want to build. But it was never about monkeys, ducks, birds, and sparrows. It was about some vested interest which but did not want India to build the roads. This is exactly what was happening in the United States of America. Why did Trump say drill, 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 drill? Why did Trump say that? Because Trump understood, what the hell is this? What are you talking to me? Pollution? We don't want to drill our own oil. We want to pay money and get the oil from the Middle East and want to suck up to them and risk our national security. But we don't want to drill. We don't want to refine. What did Trump say? Drill, drill, and drill. That's the reason. Next question. Manoharji, does India have shale oil? Can we do fracking? We have not discovered anything on that, sir. But I hope and pray to God every day that we should find some oil, because India needs some oil reserves critically, because our economy is increasing at exponential rate. Even with 20% ethanol blending, with hydrogen, with CNG, a lot of things we have done, and done successfully by the grace of God. But the problem is we are not like Europe, where the economy is growing at 1% and where the population is declining. Our consumption is growing at a much faster level. So even with these ethanol and all, you have arrested the accelerating rate of more consumption, more need. You've kind of retarded that a bit, but still your consumption and your demand is increasing, sir. So God has to be kind to us. We have to find something of our own. We can't be so much dependent on oil from the foreigners. Next question. Shreya Sejasji. Sumitji, one popular RV YouTuber who makes predictions always makes stride remarks about your lives gets infiltrated by the people like you call Chinese an enemy. Do you have any message for him? I don't know whom are you referring to, but if the person is living out of a China with a Chinese wife, And then the wife is an outpost of Chinese intelligence. That is what we know. And there are hundreds and thousands of cases in the world where Chinese have infiltrated everybody. And then beyond that, we don't want to talk anything. And this person cannot be trusted. And it's like, do you know that 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗪𝗍 sting in Pakistan and trying to make videos against the Pakistan army? Then we did the exposure on PGurus. You all remember that, you know. So these all people have their interests. Look, why did Americans put TikTok? Why did Chinese put TikTok in America? With 170 million downloads, half of the America is using TikTok, and they're using their own influencers to sell those cheap Chinese bags, to discard American products, to discard American bags, to discard European brands, and even tell American people to come up and do this revolution. So I don't know who these people are. They are those substandard pests, you know, who live in hostile countries and talk about patriotism. That is what I would say. Next question. On Meloni bypassing EU and meeting US president. Well, Meloni is a smart lady, and Meloni is the only person who can still manage the thing, because she understands, as I as a common person understand, why is Macron behaving like this? Why is Starmer behaving like this? Why is Germany suddenly changing? There's no logic. And why are you compromising the European Union interest? You remember 𝗟𝗡𝗏 𝗏, she got a call from the vice chancellor of China, and she started, these $20 billion will start imposing tariffs and all. It's only when Trump pushed her a bit harder and she could back out, and then Trump said, okay, for 90 days we are not imposing these tariffs. So there are vested interests always, and China corrupts the leaders. If there are leaders which are nationalistic, which are patriotic, which I believe Meloni is, I think that is the only reason she has chosen what is right for the Europe and what is at least right for Italy. So if you can't choose for Europe what is right, at least go and choose for what is right for Italy. Muthukumar Sundaramji. PGurus, how can Kafirs adopt the tactics by other side for their safety without compromising any ideals, any clues? Look, the only thing is, it is a simple model which works at 𝗓𝗏. Awareness, interest, desire, and action. First is awareness. So-called Kafirs must be aware of al-taqiyya and all the tactics used against us. And remember, the mullahs are not only with the dadi and mooch. History says the most dangerous mullahs are without dadi and mooch. Erdogan, Asif Munir, Ziaul Haq, this Yahya Khan, Ayub Khan, they never had a dadi mooch, right? Bhutto, no dadi mooch. So don't get disguised by somebody like with the dadi mooch. And anybody who doesn't have a dadi mooch and talks all the nice things is your friend and too much patriotic. So that is the first person you should doubt. A Maulana comes with the get-up. He kind of cements his presence, which is okay. I have no problem with that. But people without dadi mooch and trying to be patriotic and trying to be your friends are the most dangerous people. That's the first number thing. Second thing is, when you have the awareness, then there will be interest. Then will be a desire. And the action will be protect you and people around you. And if we start protecting, our families and people around us, that will be the greatest service to the nation. Like I clearly say, we should not use Chinese goods, whatever the cost is and whatever the reason is. I mean, if that can be done at a mass level in India, a lot of impact would have been already achieved. सत श्री अकाल जी, क्या इंडिया F-35 लेगा और लेना चाहिए? देखिए सर, F-35 जो है एक अच्छा पोटेंट मशीन है. इट हैज स्टूड द टेस्ट ऑफ टाइम. इंडिया को अभी जहाज चाहिए सर, और बहुत सारे जहाज चाहिए. हमें कुछ स्क्वाड्रन्स की जरूरत है, क्योंकि अब जो आप सिनेरियो देख रहे हो वो दिन ब दिन बढ़ता जा रहा है. उस परिप्रेक्ष्य से अगर हमारा बजट हमें अलाउ करता है, F-35 भी लेना चाहिए. ये नहीं कि केवल F-35 लेके बोल जाओ. F-35 भी लेना चाहिए, Su-57 भी लेना चाहिए, और हमें F-47 की भी बात करनी चाहिए. तो ये सब चीजें चाहिए सर. मैं कह रहा हूँ, देखिए, मैं हमेशा से एक बात है, मेरा डिफेंस का बजट बनाना पड़ेगा. अगर अभी 80 बिलियन है तो इसे कम से कम 100-110 बिलियन करना पड़ेगा. और ये 20-30 बिलियन केवल कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर के लिए. हमें एक इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी की अलग मिनिस्ट्री बनानी चाहिए. 10-20-30 बिलियन को उन्हें बजट दीजिए, और सेना में रिक्रूटमेंट बढ़ाइए, अग्निवीर भी बढ़ाइए, रिक्रूटमेंट भी बढ़ाइए, सब बढ़ाइए. अपनी सैन्य सुरक्षा, इंटरनल या एक्सटर्नल हथियार, उसको लेके कोई कंप्रोमाइज ना हो. अगर पैसे की आवश्यकता 2% सेस लगाइए, हम सब देंगे, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, पूरा भारत देगा जी. Sudhakar MG, everyone is concerned about the nuclear weaponizing of Iran. What about the nukes of Pakistan and its deteriorating security situation? There are two answers to it, sir. It is believed that around, except 3, most of them are in an American base in Saudi Arabia. That is the point number 1. Point number 2, that America has already scenarioed various scenarios. If Pakistan something happens, how to evacuate these nukes. And there's also a plan how to detonate the worst case. Even if there are down in silos and all, if you detonate them, there'll be some radiation leaks and all. But it'll be much better than a Haqqani having a nuke, and you see a picture one day with a Haqqani with a nuke and threatening the whole world. Talibanis I'm referring to. So these mullahs getting nukes are very dangerous. So even one of the part of the plan is to even detonate them. I think there are people, there are tactics, and there are plans already in place. And with a patriotic president like Trump, we can expect when push comes to shove, they can be implemented. And by the way, that YouTuber which some of you are mentioning, I run this series on China, and I expose China every week. That is where his, that is the pinch. That is why 𝗔𝗍𝗍 penalizes him. And I've heard that 𝗔𝗍𝗍 also has some very demeaning punishments. One of the punishment is called a gay punishment. I heard that what that 𝗔𝗍𝗍 does in China. I don't know how far it is true. One of my sources very close to all this told me that there's a punishment which Chinese do. I don't know. Ask me frankly, will China be into 5 countries before the Pakistan decided? It's too difficult to say, sir. But Pakistan has nothing to lose. Look, they are those cannibals living in tents. So they don't have much to lose. China has a big infrastructure. The problem of having a big infrastructure is that you have to really take care of everything. You need billions of dollars to run that. China cannot run without a lot of money. Pakistan can run only with biryani, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 biryani and rotten rice. They can cook that and Pakistan can run on that, but it's very difficult for China to run without money. So it's difficult to say what happens first or what happens next, but both are in trouble. And now the gloves are off. Now this war between China and America is out in the open. I've been talking for years now. Now it's out in the open. And as I've been telling you two things very clearly. There are only 2 countries on Trump's agenda: China and Iran. Next question. Kim, I thought India, China had put things behind when it comes to our borders. I laughed about that once. You can't trust China. They are eating rice from US made. They are peasants eating rice the US made them. They spit in our face. Well, the China changed after Xi Jinping came into power. There's a China under Hu Jintao. There's a China under Mao. There's a China under Deng Xiaoping. And there's a China under Xi Jinping. I think when you look at Mao and Xi, they are very identical. They're leaders with a lot of pride and all that, right? It's a question of putting behind. We have. But what happened in Galwan brought us to the fact that the ghost still lives. The Dracula has not died. That was a kind of a wake-up call, right? China, I'll quote Mike Pompeo, who says that your foreign secretary, ex-foreign secretary, he says, when it comes to China, every country is a frontline state. It doesn't matter if you are sharing a border with China, you might be even 10,000 miles away from China. So that's what China believes. So because there is this concept of Han Chinese dominance, wherein they believe they are destined to rule the world. That's what the problem is. I believe I'm destined, I'm superior. It's that racial superiority, I'm destined to rule the world. And this is my way, that even you have to, start eating those noodles and, I don't know what all. And I am supposed to do that also, because that is the best way. That is where the problem comes. This inbuilt delusionary complex where you believe you're superior and you're destined to rule the world. That's where the problem is. Next question. Kamal Mongaji. When Hitler's army could not withstand the winter of Russia and lost? How does UK PMs want to send army? Ukraine wants to get more 𝗍𝗲𝗍𝗑𝗐. That is what the problem is. You have hit the nail on the head. That is what the Britishers are saying. We don't want to go and die there in -20 or a -30, because these are not the places, that is not the terrain to be fought. It's very, very difficult to go and fight there. And this is not our war. What are we going to get? How is UK going to get benefited from this? So this is where the bigger economic interests and what the allegations are, that the people in WEF who want this to happen and who want to engineer this for their money to grow, for their industries to go, for them to make more billions, to have more bigger yachts and have more mistresses and to spend more monies on those private jets. That seems to be the con, and have that money to buy those politicians and rule the world. I don't know why people want so much of money at the conceptual level. You don't need so much of money if you want to make a living. Like, look at Prime Minister Modi. I mean, what a simple man. And look at some of the world leaders. And look at even some of the leaders we had in India who were throwing money like this. It's all in you at the end of the day. If you realize that one day you're going to be a speck of dust, you're going to be a speck of dust. I might be Modi, I might be Hitler, I might be Trump, I might be anybody. But there's a day, you, me, everybody, all of us, we are going to be reduced to a speck of dust. That's the reality of life. If you realize this, if you realize the Sanatanic values and the ethos, you definitely will not be what you are right now. Next question. Satyaji. Jai Shri Ram. What can BJP in center when it comes to act on Bengal? Then Bangladesh, we never know, BJP might lose the center and Congress might make it. Modi asked 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗥𝗏. Look, there is no option to Modi right now. There's no option to BJP right now. Bengal will happen, sir. But give it a time. The problem with Bengal is, if I can be very candid and direct with you, there are a lot of Hindus of Bengal, a sizable mass of Bengali Hindus, which vote Mamata. Mamata cannot come to power only on Muslim vote. There's a Hindu, sizable chunk of Hindus who vote Mamata, and that is why Mamata comes to power. Correct? Point number one. Point number two, Bangladesh, you have to have a consensus. You have to, cannot touch Bengal and Bangladesh at both the times. Here and here. You have to settle one, then touch other, or settle this, then touch this. It can't happen simultaneously. So there's a bigger strategy. You see 370, all got settled. And there are a couple of more issues, they will get settled. But when it comes to managing those balls and also sipping a coffee in the meanwhile, the timing has to be impeccable and perfecter than perfect. Next question. Kim, America is rich in oil and rare mineral produce extra. Biden, Obama, let's produce it. Biden, Obama wouldn't let us produce it. Now China is shutting down the rare earths. Trump is fixing. You're absolutely right. Biden, Obama was the president and Biden was his deputy all along. Barkat Hussain Obama, full name, could not pull it on his own. Joe was hand in glove, and Joe had, where did Hunter Biden have all his business? With all the places in the world, Hunter Biden had his business in Ukraine and China. Look at Trump. Trump is a legitimate businessman. Trump has so much of business around the world. And there is legitimate business in India. In my town, there's business, but it's all legitimate business. So why does Hunter Biden only have business in nefarious countries and with conflicting political interests? Then, when did Biden got pissed off with China? When China exposed the Hunter Biden laptop and other scandals, they let bits and pieces of news go. That's where Biden got pissed off with China. Earlier, Biden was not talking about China. So what did Biden do? Biden created an imaginary enemy, Russia, Soviet era. Let's go back to Russia. Putin is the butcher. Let's get Putin. So these were all tactics which were created, smoke screens which were created to help China. Idea was to help China at the end of the day. That's the whole idea. Next question. I think we have come to an end of a long session, but an interesting one. And thanks for all your support and all the patronage we always get. You guys are fantastic. We love you. And, even if 1.5 hours pass, we never realize how did the time fly. That is the beauty of it. And keep reporting about those pests who are here and there. We love pests because at the end of the day, if there are no pests, we won't have insecticides. So that's the beautiful part of it. And this gay punishment is interesting, what CCP does. But anyway, that's not the topic today. On that note, we'd like to thank you for all your wonderful support and the patronage you give us. Do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. That will be a favor. That will be a great honor. On that note, I'd like to take your leave. Before leaving, I have two channels, 𝗤𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 On that note, thank you very much. Love you all. Bharat Mata ki jai, Vande Mataram, and Har 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 Mahadev.